Hi, and welcome to the Bruce Channel, third iteration. I'm Bruce, and I'm glad that you're here. I'm also excited about what's coming up on today's show. And actually, even though this is only our third installment, I've been looking forward to getting some parts of this show together literally for months. First, though, some housekeeping. Your comments, suggestions for topics for discussion are welcome. And one way to reach me is write the Bruce Channel at yahoo.com. That's the Bruce Channel at yahoo.com. The shows do get posted to Facebook, so you might be watching through Facebook's portal, and if you are, I hope you'll like and share. But if, say, you wanted to visit the Bruce Channel at its YouTube home, the easy web address is tinyurl.com/Bruce Channel. That's tinyurl.com/Bruce Channel. That's all there is to it, which is also a very good way to tell someone. You know, if you're talking on the phone, is that an anachronism anymore? If you're talking on the phone, you can't send a link, right? So you could just tell them, go to tinyurl.com/Bruce Channel. And finally, if you do go to the YouTube site, I hope you'll subscribe. My sister said she didn't see exactly how, but here's a screenshot of the page, and here's the button. And if you are subscribed, you get an email when a new show goes on, or maybe a special message gets posted, but that's all. There is no spam. All right, from last week. I got more reaction than I'd anticipated when I talked about the national anthem. One viewer pointed out that it's usually sung wrong, in a different way, that the word banner is just 3 notes. And it's true. Now, it doesn't give me the willies if I hear 4 notes, but apparently it's like fingernails on a blackboard for some folks. Another viewer said he didn't realize that the speed was actually codified. And I tend to doubt most people know that either. I didn't until a few years ago, and I found out almost accidentally. For 11 years, I was the stadium organist for the Durham Bulls baseball team, and for the past 4, I've done the same for the Greensboro Grasshoppers. As you can imagine, I've heard a lot of national anthem performances over those years. I've done a couple of them myself. Well, most that I saw were okay. After all, the performers are auditioned. A few were terrible, but not many, aside from the fact that they were usually too slow. Most were unremarkable, but really there were 3 that stand out as sensational. One was a big bald guy with a solo tenor sax. Very different, very cool. The second was a string ensemble from Belgium touring the U.S. They appeared on the field in their formal attire, and when they finished, they got perhaps the biggest ovation I've ever heard, at least in person. The third that stands out was a band from a National Guard unit. I don't recall exactly. 8, 10 pieces, 12 maybe. But it was spectacular. They were in tune, they were dynamic, they were rousing, and they were up to tempo. And I was impressed enough to catch the officer, the conductor, after the performance. I just wanted to compliment him. They stayed in tune, they hit the tempo, and he said, yeah, just like in the manual. And that's when I learned the tempo was codified. All right, in our first edition, I said we'll sometimes go behind the scenes. This is one of those times. In baseball, at the major league level, it's my understanding that some teams have on-field hosts and between innings promotions, and some do not. You know, it's hard to think of the New York Yankees, for example, with so many years of Bob Shepard's formality in their history, ever changing their style. Now batting, number 7, Mickey Mantle. Yeah. But at the minor league level, it's very different. I believe there is no team that doesn't have the added attractions. And it's been that way for decades. In Greensboro, the on-field host is one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. His name is Danny Mackey. This is what he looks like in real life. I think that this was taken at a wedding he was in. But at the ballpark, he dons a jester's cap and goes by the improbable moniker of Spaz. And I asked him how that came to be.
It was actually given to me by Rick Zolger, and he was the PA announcer for the Hudson Valley Renegades. And so he said, I could run around like a crazy fan. I was a mascot at Greensboro College, so they let me run around like a crazy fan. And in the 3rd inning, the PA announcer said, "That's our intern Spaz." And since then, 13 years later, still going by Spaz.
Every half inning, between innings, there's always some kind of a contest, a game going on. How are the contestants selected?
Our interns pick people as they come through the gates. So as soon as the gates open at 6 o'clock or 3 o'clock for a 4 o'clock start, the interns sign them up. They go really fast because we only need 10, 12 people a night. So.
Presumably they fill demographic types.
Yeah, well, certain things are kids, certain things are adults. So the kids stuff fills up real quick. Sometimes you got to work a little harder on the adult stuff. But
So what's your favorite part of all this?
I would say the best part is sometimes just being able to get in the crowd and be a fan. So getting paid to come and be at a baseball game.
You were a baseball player. You were a catcher.
Yeah, I was. I caught in high school and a little bit of college. Got redshirted for my freshman year and tore my rotator cuff.
I know there's a sign somewhere in the offices that says something to the effect of, "This is somebody's first time here. Make it a good one."
I've met people from all over the world who travel and go and see ballparks all the time, and you want them to leave and go, Greensboro was the best ballpark I went to, and that's the goal. I can tell you firsthand he succeeds at that goal, as does the organization as a whole. Which, full disclosure, I've been proud to be a part of the organization, as I said. All right, back after this word.
Hey, let me tell you about my book, Shrink. For most of my adult life, I weighed a little over 100 pounds. Not much more than in this picture taken when I was about 17 and considering becoming a jockey. But as is often true, once I crossed into my 40s, extra weight came and it stayed. For years I tried to lose, instead gained, and ended up 153 pounds. And I'm embarrassed to show you this video. Then I learned that it isn't about calories and exercise, but instead it's about what you eat. You might say, sure, ice cream makes you fat. But there were surprises, things like orange juice not being such a wise choice if you're trying to lose weight. So I just made some basic changes to what I ate, not how much, and the weight just fell off. Now, nearly 3 years later, it is still off. And don't misunderstand, I'm eating foods I like, not bamboo shoots. Friends ask me how I did it so often, I put it in a book. It's available as an ebook for all platforms, and the print edition is available at barnesandnoble.com and amazon.com. Hey, you can shrink too. Welcome back. Some quick hitters. Many will remember the iconic cover for the Beatles' Abbey Road album. Well, a Facebook friend shared a pic put together by one of his friends, and it showed up on the timeline, and I just thought it was cute. And as we're now in early December, I thought I'd share with you Tom Sorella's creativity. He calls it Abby Snowed. Okay, now to something different. Over the years, there have been any number of classic comic strips. The satire on Lil Abner and Pogo was nothing short of genius. Their creators were genius. Charles Schulz was genius. In Peanuts, the genius manifests not so much in satire, but in an understanding of human nature and sometimes its pathos. There are other comics by other geniuses, but my all-time favorite, second place isn't even close, is Calvin and Hobbes. If you agree, I'm not surprised. Bill Watterson broke my, and a lot of other hearts, when he ended the strip nearly 19 years ago. Here, look at this. How can you not love this? Here in the final frame, he points out the folly of mutual assured destruction, known by the apt acronym MAD. But then he could be whimsical. In this one, with Hobbes considering where we go after we die. I love it. I love it. And as one who plays the saxophone, I think I rather like Hobbes' idea. But a few months ago, I stumbled upon something wonderful. And I want to share it with everyone who loved Calvin and Hobbes, and that's everyone I know. But I don't want to spoil it either, so how to get you there without telling you too much. All right, the original story was written by Samurai Tiger 19 on reddit.com. And that's been pointed to by many, just as I am doing now. So without revealing too much, here's what you do. Google premature curmudgeon saddest Calvin and Hobbes story. Now you could just Google saddest Calvin and Hobbes story, but then among the returns would be a couple that maybe give away too much of the story too soon. So if you get there and then you really want to protect yourself, don't read these 4 paragraphs. Instead, start at the quotes. Have a hanky nearby. Trust me, you'll love it. All right, shifting gears again. As some of you may know, last summer I had a role in a soon-to-be-released movie called Samka. I am prohibited from telling you very much about it just yet. The producers are keeping it under wraps. film festivals next year, but I can tell you some things. You can also learn more about it by visiting the website called samkamovie.com, or you can go to the Facebook page belonging to 4 Leagues Media. If you visit there, you'll learn more about the plot and the legend upon which the plot is based. You can see behind-the-scenes pictures from the sets and lots more. Now, what I can tell you, it's set in Europe during the Dark Ages, the late 13th century, I think, and that within the story are elements of love and mystery. Those are timeless, and it's enveloped in the supernatural. My character does not have a name. I am simply known as the Wise Village Elder. Now here's a picture of me in the chair getting made into an elder. And I've got to say, that took enormous makeup magic. But I also appear 30 years younger. Well, that took less makeup magic. Nevertheless, seeing this picture, a friend of mine said, "Wow, Pacino-ish." Yeah. But here's this week's news. The trailer is out, and I can now show that to you.
I promise you, all of this will be over with soon.
Did you notice? Except at the very beginning where the words were spoken off camera, in the trailer no one said a word on screen. Instead it was imagery, emotions, impression, and what I think was some pretty strong music. I do want to show you something cool. Inasmuch as this is on one of the websites I mentioned, I'm not revealing secrets. Some of the shots were taken via a quad. You may ask, what's a quad? A quad is a 4-propeller drone. And it's so cool, it flies, and yeah. So as I said, there's a lot more to see at either of the 2 websites. Go to them both. You can see pictures of the actors, of the crew, which would include the wonderful, wonderful makeup magicians who somehow turned me into an elder. There are pictures of some scenes being shot, some of scenes being rehearsed, and some shots on location at a castle. A castle? Yeah. So by all means, visit samkamovie.com and the Facebook page for 4 Leagues Media. And that will bring us to the end of this show. Yes, music will usually be included, but I thought we had some pretty cool stuff this week in lieu of music. But listen, if you do live next door to Michael Bolton, yes, tell him to watch the first 2 episodes. Maybe he'll like my music. And if you live next door to Steven Spielberg, direct him to this edition. Same for Paul Thomas Anderson, except if you live next door to him, tell him I said, turn blue. Yeah. I watched his dad, Ernie Anderson, Ghoulardi. I'll tell you a short anecdote next week that's tangential to that. And as always, I hope you liked our work. Write us at the Bruce Channel at yahoo.com. And also, as always, I hope your upcoming week is the best one you've ever had.